And now it's time for Photo Booth Live Chat with John Young. And now it's time for Photo Booth Live Chat with John Young. Good evening and welcome to PBN TV tonight. I am John Young with the PBN TV channel, and tonight my special guest is Steve Lynch. Good evening, Steve.
How you doing, John?
I am doing well, doing very, very well. Thanks for being on tonight with me.
Thanks.
This will be our first Wednesday night gear chat. So you are like the man kicking off the whole sequence for the season. It's pretty no pressure whatsoever. So what we're going to do tonight is Steve is going to show us how to take bubblegum wrappers and toothpicks and create a photo booth. It's going to be great. That was the other show we did. That was the other show. For those of you who do not know, Steve Lynch has Atlanta Photo Booth, and they have got some of the coolest things that we get to see at the Photo Booth Expo. That's coming up here in February. If you didn't see in our little intro things, go to photoboothexpo.com and you can check out, get the tickets and such, and be able to come out and check it out, hang out with us for a couple of days, because Steve Lynch is going to have some cool things at this year's show.
Yes, we should. We should have some pretty nice things.
So Steve, let's kind of jump into some of the products and such, because we just finished DJ Expo, and I got to see a few of the things that you were working on, and you've always got such cool creative things that not only on display, but you've got these little side projects that you're always working on, and it's always kind of fun. And your office area there. Now you're in your shop, your area right now, aren't you?
Yes, I have the lights low because we're starting homecoming season tomorrow, and or starting the prelim stuff tomorrow. So we're building all kinds of things right now. So there's about an inch deep of sawdust and laser cut foam core and everything right now. So I'm trying to keep it low and kind of hide it.
Nice. Yeah, so it's that time of the year, the busy time of the year. So let's kind of jump into. I wanted to kind of go through some of the products and such that you have with Atlanta Photo Booth, and really kind of look at for the different boothers out there, the people who are experienced at this, or some people who are looking to get into this, some of the different options and ways that they could use that and add that to their company.
Okay. So, would you like me to start through? Basically, we offer all different styles. So we go from the DSLR types, which are the more high-end quality photographic type of stuff, all the way down to the novelty type of things, and everything in between. And we've tried to hit on, over the years, all of the niche-y things that have come along, and it's helped us grow a pretty good portfolio. And I've pushed the envelope a couple of times and tried to introduce things that, the world just wasn't ready for. But, we've pretty much drawn the line as of now with, our Rover. So now we have the one that, you can drive around at the events and take two people and everything, which has just been, it's been amazing. I mean, if you can remember the days when people first saw a photo booth at an event and they were like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing in the entire world. Well, as people have seen photo booths more, they get a little harder to impress. So you've got to kind of raise the bar, whether it's with your presentation and your backdrop setup and your, photo experience, or driving a robot that talks up to them and saying, "Hey, notice me. Let's take a photo."
Yep.
So it's been pretty nifty.
Yeah, and it's been kind of a neat progression to watch every year when you're bringing some new things out to it. It's like, oh, that is so cool. That is just, again, who the robot thing to drive around and to be able to go and bring that up, and then the flexibility to change. Well, I'm getting at some of the devices we're going to talk about, the way you've got it set up so they can do different things. So let's jump into, especially for those who, the selfie area is becoming kind of a big thing that a lot of people have, and you've got some different options for those who are looking to add that to their company.
Mm-hmm. So you're talking about just getting in for somebody that might be starting off kind of from scratch? Or?
Well, it could be from scratch, or I've actually been talking to a couple of photo boothers on Tuesday. We were chatting, and they've had the DSLR systems, and they're like, we're seeing more call for that capability to be able to take a picture and send it right to, and not really getting into the prints.
Right.
And they're like, if we're going to do that, I don't want to be dragging around this big unit.
No, I think that's got a lot to do with, I was reading recently, and they're saying that the last 2 decades are some of the most under-photographed decades ever, because the focus on photography has changed from actual photographers, for the most part, to everything being taken on a camera phone and stuff like that.
Sure.
So a lot of the stuff you see on CNN and things like that and everything, it's just the way the world has gone. Everybody's taking photos with what's in their hand. So you're absolutely correct. A lot of the focus, especially with the millennials and stuff like that just have placed zero value on actual tangible photographs, and everything exists in the cloud for them. The digital thing is super appealing because they can instantly get it right on their phone, and boom, it's in their, they're safe. I mean, that contains their world, and not just millennials. I mean, everybody.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
I lost my phone. I lost everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, we came up with a few different options for that, and that was where the Venue Pad came from. And the Venue Pad is, as you've seen, I have a little video and a couple other things I can show you.
Yeah.
The Venue Pad is actually, let me bring that up right here. Let's see if I can do this. Is that horrifically loud?
Yep, it's a little loud, but make sure you get the share set right to share the window there.
I'm gonna move it here. I'm sorry, John.
Yeah.
What a noob here.
Yeah, we were doing so well earlier, but now that we...
I'm just trying to minimize this so I can bring it up. Okay, here we go. So I will click on that. Where are we? Right here, share.
And then grab the window and...
All right, I apologize.
Yeah, no problem.
There we go. Are we share it?
There we go. It's loading. And we are there. Okay, so Venue Pad highlights, final copy.
All right, so this is just basically a little thing to show you. That is the most basic iteration of our Venue Pad. That is the classic model, as we call it. And that is the non-lighted pedestal. Now, this right here is either iPad or Surface Pro driven. And you can use it on the pedestal. You can use it on the rover. And you can also take it off and roam with it. So it's kind of multi-purpose. You could stick it on a wall if you wanted to wall mount it, or you could put it on a tripod and walk around, or a monopod if you don't want to be carrying it in your hand. But the whole idea behind it is that it's modular. You can use it for multiple things. So you can kind of buy the little ecosystem and use your unit in multiple ways. And I wanted it to be a lower cost and more accessible item so that people that wanted to add additional photo booths to their roster, for example, could easily do that without, having to invest in another, very expensive booth.
Right.
Because as well as I do, if you get the 3 or 4 times a year when you have call for 2 or 3 photo booths, on one day, if you're a smaller company, or other companies that, you might have 5 or 6 out a weekend every weekend, you don't always have the customer that wants to spend $2,000 or whatever. So it's nice to have a lower cost option that you can simply bring in, have it run 100% on batteries, plop it down, and walk away basically.
Right.
You know, and that's the wonderful thing I like about the selfie style ones, is that they don't require the attendant and whatnot necessarily, unless you're doing a bunch of props and things like that. But I find for a lot of things, like I'm constantly at the convention center down the road and things like that. You know, they'll say, we want a photo booth in my booth. And then 2 other people will call and say, we want a photo booth in our booth. So I'll have, you know, set up in the Monster booth, and then I'll be set up in the Etna booth, or I'll be set up in something else. I get them all ready, and I say, I'll be back at 5. And we let it run, and then they harvest all the emails and stuff in the end, or all the text messages or whatever, and they use it to blast. So you don't need to stand with them. If you're doing props and you have a big backdrop setup or something like that, it's nice to be there so that you can, you know, you can maintain the appearance of your presentation. But if you don't have to have that, it's a very easy option to just, we call it a drop and run. And it's nice to be able to do 2 or 3 of those in a day and not have to tie up your entire day standing there when people really don't need you.
Sure.
So.
Now, that particular unit, you mentioned you can utilize, set it up for a Surface tablet, or you can use an iPad. You have it either way?
Yes, you can. And, you know, if something comes along for an Android or something like that, of course, we could set it up that way as well. But as of now, it's iPad and Windows-based for the most part. And the Surface Pro has some distinct advantages over the iPad, and the iPad has some distinct advantages over the Surface Pro. It's really a matter when people are calling. That's the biggest dilemma, is which way do I go?
Exactly. That was my question.
So I try to talk to people and figure out what their aim is. You know, I do have some customers that, for example, we had someone today who purchased one from a college, and they want to use it for all of their social stuff at the college. And they just want to be able to throw it out whenever they want. Well, they also had some other things that they were concerned about feature-wise, where they wanted to be able to do animated GIFs. They wanted to be able to print if printing was necessary. They wanted automatic uploading to Dropbox. They wanted the ability to wirelessly share to the in-house AV system, a bunch of things like that.
Right.
So based on their criteria, you know, we kind of figured that the Surface Pro was their better option for that, because of the flexibility and the ability to do things like, you know, a lot of people don't realize, with all the new Windows devices, Windows will wirelessly stream using a $29 adapter, will wirelessly stream to any TV. You just plug the little thing into the back of the TV and boom, you have wireless video. So for photo boothers especially, that's a magnificent tool. It's called the Microsoft Wireless Video Adapter. Mm-hmm. And the thing I love about that is it powers off the USB port that's present in nearly every TV now. And you simply swipe in from the right on your Surface Pro or your computer, and you choose connect, and you see the little wireless thing there, and then boom, instant second monitor.
Wow.
And it works for up to 200 or 300 feet. Now the refresh rate, being a Wi-Fi based product, is naturally not going to be something you're going to want to be playing high def video on or something like that. But for a photo slideshow or for mirroring your live screen or something like that, it is primo.
Wow.
So that's something I absolutely love. And I also love the ability for, for example, like Darkroom is the software we gravitate towards. And Darkroom allows you to set up, wireless sharing, basically, where if you plop a router down, anybody using, taking photos on the venue pad and stuff like that can actually view the slideshow real time on any web-enabled device. I mean, they could have a Kindle Fire or a 1986 laptop, whatever. As long as it can get on the internet, they can simply either scan a QR code or type in your IP address, and they can view all of the slides, all of the photos as they're being taken, and share them from there. And that's not independent of the software. It's built into the software and actually allows you to utilize your booth, completely free of all fees to do that. It takes a little more setup. So that's one of the things where the iPad may be a little more, appealing to some people that are not so tech savvy.
Sure.
You definitely have a greater range of things you can do with the venue pad or the the venue pad units or any of them really, if you are using PC-based software. If you're using the iPads, it's more cloud-based, so you are reliant on A, good internet service, and B, the relay through the software's server. So say you're using software X, it's going to redirect everybody basically through their server to grab their photos and stuff. And most of the time you can pay an additional fee to remove their branding or to remove their URL and stuff like that, so it looks transparent. So, if it's John's photo booth service, it'll look like it's coming from John's and not from
the other third party.
Whatever the software is. Yes.
Yeah. Interesting. I guess, and when we've done our little quick videos at Photo Booth Expo and such, we've never really talked about the why. Part of it's because of timing and such.
Why. I mean, some people are just some people's basest instinct is the fact that you have to pay to use most of the iPad software. You have to pay on either a subscription basis or whatever, and that for some people may be a detriment, and to others they use it frequently enough where getting the subscription is a viable option for them,
right? And
they can use it pretty much unlimited. And they do handle all the stuff on the server side, so you do not have to set up something like Twilio for texting, or you do not have to set up your Dropbox for automatically uploading photos to a customer or something like that. A lot of that is handled that way. So that's kind of the pros and cons. The iPad is very, very simple, but does not offer the feature set that not everybody really uses.
Yeah, for sure. Especially if you're wanting to have that quick set.
People try both.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so we talked about the venue pad system a little bit. Is that what we're seeing over your shoulder, over your right shoulder there?
Yes, that is actually burning in for a customer right now. So we're letting that run and, make sure the LEDs are good, make sure the power supply is all, let it stay live for a couple days. So when we complete them, before we wrap them, we give them a thorough going through to make sure that everything, everything fires up when they get out of the box. Because it's got to usually take a pretty long trip, and you want
to make sure there aren't any.
Happen when the monkeys start throwing things around. So try to get it as solid as possible before it goes out. But yes, that is what you're seeing back there. That is the lighted version. And if you see on our website, we've got tons of photos of them. I do have some as well, and I don't know how often you want me to keep sharing things on here, but I can actually bring that up real quick and show you. Let me see here. This should be a little easier. So let's see what you had. And this is the non-lighted version.
Okay,
I will spare you that. But basically, that gives you the ability to have a wider surface. People express the desire to have something that could be wrapped or branded, and they also wanted a little bit of bling on it. So we did side lights and everything like that. So you got a little more imposing base, and that really worked out well for us because we were able to put in integrated power and data and video pass-throughs and stuff like that.
Nice. So
that somebody does not have to run cables through a unit or disassemble it to hook things up. So say you want to pop the top off and go roaming, you can simply pull your little things out right there and take it and go run around the party for a while and come back and park it again. And if you happen to be printing as well, so like if you're using the Surface Pro, when you come back and park, it'll actually spit out all your photos. And one of the things we like to do is we actually set up, I made this really cool wall with these, hang on a second here. Got these really nifty little, they're basically LED clothespins.
Okay.
They're string lights, but they're LEDs. And we string those up. You ever been on a cruise ship and how they take pictures of you all day, and at night you can walk around and see them and purchase them or something like that?
Yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah. When we're out and about, we will actually take people's photos and tell them that they can go retrieve them back at the print table. So back wherever we have our main station set up, we'll display them. So they don't have to rifle through a ginormous pile of photos, finding theirs. They come over and see them, and it just looks pretty, and people
Yeah,
love it.
that would be
So,
a neat little addition to that.
yeah.
Okay, so let's kind of up our game. So if we're going to move on from a tablet-based system where it's just basically taking the selfie with the tablet itself, what's the next step up if people want to increase the quality, let's say, of the images and the experience?
Well, it kind of bleeds over from the Surface Pad to probably the Venue Pro at that point. And the Surface Pad using the Surface Pro allows you to utilize a camera like the Logitech C920 or the Brio or something like that. So you can get a very nice camera. In my opinion, in the opinion of many, it's a much nicer and much more light managed and everything camera than the front camera on an iPad. I mean, the back cameras are amazing, but the front cameras they're catching up, but they're not quite on par. It allows you to basically have the quality of the back camera on an iPad on the front facing side, and it allows you to print and everything as well. So if you want to transition from strictly digital to being able to print and have nice photos, the Surface Pro allows you to go there. Now you could take your Surface Pro and move it over into the Venue Pro, which is the larger unit we have. And that is, let me bring that up.
Yep, bring that up for us.
Yep, that is the larger brother to the, where are we?
You mentioned the Logitech 920 camera.
Yes.
Is that what you're using right now?
920 or 922. Essentially the same camera with some different software enhancements with the 922 for people that do streaming, Twitch streaming and things like that. So that is the one that we've been using. I like it. I like the light management. I like everything else.
Yeah, you look fabulous. You look like like you're 25 years old.
Well, thank you so much.
So, I mean, it's absolutely fabulous.
Now you're making me turn red. I'm going to have to readjust color on here. But the Venue Pro or the C920 is a wonderful camera. It does animated GIFs and things like that very well. It does video clips very well. The built-in microphones are actually very nice. So if you want to do video messaging or something like that,
sure,
it works. And it also takes stellar photos. Now, you and I both know, when you're printing a 4x6 or 6x8 or something like that, it's not necessary to take a 28 megapixel photo because it takes the software, 40 seconds to compress it down to the usable size that you can use. So I used to be really anti-webcam and stuff like that, but the technology has come along so far now. And if you take the time to go in and set it up manually, you can get stellar results. So if I turn off auto right now, it makes me super pasty white and blue. So I don't like to use the auto. I like to go in and kind of readjust it in the beginning.
Yep, and that's what we've done with ours also. So there are some nights where I look at our images and it's like, why do I look so white and horrible bad? Yeah. Oh yes, I haven't turned on the proper settings and such to add a little color. So yeah, the 920 is a great little one. And you said the Venue Pro can utilize that camera and be able to give you that capability to get that better image.
Yes, it can. So you can utilize that and you can also go, once again, roaming with it, take it off, and then come back and park it and print, which a lot of people like, because there are a lot of people that still do appreciate. I find that for weddings and stuff, especially, that is still the generation that places value on a hard copy photo.
Mm-hmm.
People still seem to like that. But I've also done, like a bar mitzvah or something like that, where the kids will actually take the photo in their hand, take a photo of it in their hand with the camera, throw the paper copy. And I explained to them, you can get a digital copy sent straight to your phone right now. And they're like, this is fine.
Yeah, we're good.
So digital is king. So, I like to kind of feel them out and see exactly what their desire is at that point in time for the end result. Corporates and things like that tend to like a mix of both. Mm-hmm. I find weddings, a lot of times people will get the nice little cardstock sleeves or something like that to give out as a gift. So that works out very nicely. I've actually also, we're talking about the sharing capability wirelessly with like the Venue Pro, for example. I've actually got customers that went around Christmas time and bought those little 7-inch Android tablets that are like $25.
Right. Yeah.
And they bought, 25 or 30 of them. And they'll place them out on the tables at an event, and they'll let the slideshow play on every single table. And people can go, oh, there's grandma, or there's, cousin Harry, and boop, take it and share it off. So, there's lots of nifty little things you can do like that to kind of up it a little bit.
Right.
But the Venue Pro is our DSLR based one. It does run on a Surface Pro once again. And a lot of people have the misconception that a Surface Pro is somehow a lightweight computer. If you've ever taken apart a MacBook or something like that, or any new laptop that uses SSD and whatnot, I mean, the motherboard is the size of a cassette tape. I mean, there's nothing to them anymore. So that is a full-fledged, powerful computer. I mean, I DJ with one. I play video off of one. I do video mixing and everything like that.
Wow.
They're a very nice computer. So the computer that you get with the Venue Pro is able to do all the fun stuff you might want to do, like slow-mo, or the boomerang GIFs, or video messaging, or even do some more advanced things like, for example, it's a nice big beautiful booth. When you walk up to it, it's nice to see a video of, say, the bride and groom. When you touch the screen, have them pop up and go, hey guys, thanks for coming today. I know it's tough to grab us. We're kind of busy. Everybody wants to shake our hand and blah, blah, blah. But please enjoy the photo booth, eat, drink, be merry, and we love you. And whatever. You can play a little video like that before the photo booth session starts, and people's minds are blown. They're like, oh my God, that's so cool. So it's nice to be able to do that stuff with the PC-based ones, where you can add in all kinds of extra special things. You can have it play sound effects. With the Venue Pro, you can actually do things like trigger lights if you wanted to. If you wanted to have it trigger a strobe, or if you wanted it to vibrate the seat, or turn a fan on, or something like that. There's all kinds of wonderful things you can hook into it if you really want to get geeky with it. You can make the photo booth control all kinds of stuff. Most people are like, I just want to take photos. But if you're doing a brand activation or something where, it's important for you to have a sound effect play, or you're looking for a response from people or something like that, it's great to be able to work all that stuff in.
Oh yeah, I imagine so. Especially when you're doing some of those corporate events where you throw that idea out and it'd be like, oh, that's so cool. And how big of a check should I give you?
Yeah, I mean, that's a wonderful thing when you can really personalize it for a customer. We've done one where we set up a frame, and it basically looked like on the video clip, it was like those YouTube reaction videos.
Okay.
And what people did is when they started the photo booth, it played them a couple of little video clips, and the whole idea was to show your reaction. And the final clip had the overlay, so it looked like you were a YouTube thumbnail almost. It was really neat. And that's one of the cool things you can do to bring it beyond a photo booth. The animated backgrounds now that you can do, or the animated GIFs. I mean, you see people do things like put somebody in a snow globe, or have the disco lights going in the background, or have aliens fly by, or whatever.
Yeah.
Or a dinosaur in the background looks like he's going to eat you or something. It's all cool stuff you can do with the modern software now. So it's all part of the experience for a customer. You always want to try to up it a little bit more. A lot of people will just take it and plop it in the corner and aim it at the wall, or just throw up a backdrop. We like to build scenery and stuff like that. So I will do things like, here, I got one I can share here.
Sure.
It's from the backside of the Venue Pro. But this is actually, and we're not finished at this point. This is pre-event. But, we put up the nice boxwood wall, some little poofy stuff and everything. And this was just for a school dance. I mean, this wasn't a corporate activation or anything. And wasn't a huge fan of the photo booth sign, but one of the teacher's husbands laser cut it or laser etched it, so we had to stick it on there.
Oh, there it is.
But, yeah, they could have done a little better, but we're not going to complain. But see, that's something very simple right there. Now I've gone beyond that, and we've had a couple we did, like one for Netflix, for example. They came to Georgia and they wanted a uniquely Georgia themed setup.
Hmm.
So we had, 1,000 plastic peaches, which we got, and we stacked them into bushel baskets. And then we got a bunch of ficus trees and hand wired about 400 peaches onto these trees, so they looked like peach trees. We set up ladders, and it was a wonderful activation because people were able to stand on the ladder at different heights and stuff and hand things off. And it was something beyond just having a step and repeat or a flat backdrop. It was a truly immersive setup. We've done the same thing with some of the old-timey photos and things like that, where you have things in the foreground, things in the background. So, if you want to talk about how you can increase the revenue from a photo booth activation, that's one of the things, is to get really creative with what you're offering. I mean, the flat backdrop looks nice in a photo, but in the room, when you have the whole experience going on over there, that's a huge, huge moneymaker.
And
People just love that.
Yeah, that stands out because it's different than what you see, what's become kind of commonplace.
And it justifies a much larger check as well,
Which
And
ultimately,
a lot of times people will, it took us a few times. We do a lot of corporate work in other areas, and I just had to learn to start asking. When people call for a photo booth, or people call for lighting, or people call for whatever, I'd start asking about everything else. And that's how we started getting all of the AV and the photo booth stuff together. And a lot of times when you ask somebody, you say, what type of budget are you working with or whatever? A lot of times I was just floored at what people actually had allocated as opposed to what I was charging. So we just kind of I think we can work within that. And then we just try to really wow them with what we produce. And if they're thrilled, they'll call you next year or the year after. And you just keep making them really nifty photo booth experiences that aren't just the flat backdrop. And they just keep coming back for more. Can you do this? Can you do that?
Yeah, sure. Excellent. Some good tips and nuggets you're dropping in here as we're talking about the gear tonight. Let's continue on because our time. I don't want to take up too much of your evening.
No, you're fine.
The next stage. So we've talked about our pad, the pad base, the Venue Pad. We've gone to Venue Pro. Now, if somebody is wanting to kind of up their game a little bit more, what's the next step?
Okay. One of the things that has been a huge attractant, especially to the younger brides and things like that, is the mirror booths. And the mirror booths they're a unique beast. A lot of people, and we're always 100% honest with customers when they call. If they're calling and they're saying, we want to get into photo booths, and the first thing they want to buy is a mirror, we usually have a little heart to heart with them.
Sure.
It's not because we don't want to sell them one of our more expensive units, but we want people to understand that the mirror booth, a lot of people don't get it when you're explaining it over the phone. They see it. It's an experience. And the whole magic of it is that, behind the mirror, the prompts and stuff come up and you can see yourself and everything. And, I even have customers who are like, why don't I have a live view? And I'm like, well, because the mirror is the live view.
Yeah.
You take away the magic if you're showing a video stream of yourself on a mirror. So, we'll set it up that way. And the I Love Myself Instagram generation just loves the mirror. I mean, we do them at the school dances. We'll set one up on the left, one up on the right. And they can't get enough of them. All night they're lined up for that. And I find that when I will have multiples, a lot of the dances and things we do, because that's 99% of our clientele is either corporate or dances. I don't do a lot of other events anymore because we've moved so far towards those. But the mirror booths just attract people. When you have the standard style and mirror together, people come up for it. But a lot of people with mirrors don't really know how to market them. And one of the biggest things is with the mirror booth is to have people actually try it and to see it in action. A video doesn't necessarily do it justice, or even photos don't always necessarily do it justice, because people just don't grasp what's going on. They think you're standing in front of a mirror and I mean, I've had people at events, you know, when we're walking around, I'll come back and somebody's taking a picture of themselves in the mirror with their phone. Like they think that that's how it works. You know, you're supposed to, and I'm like, no, the mirror. And they're like, well, there's no camera. I'm like, well, yes, there is. Here, let me show you. And I walk them through it. And then when they're done, I show them how they can doodle on it and stuff like that. And that's huge with the younger crowd. So the mirror booth is definitely a step up. And it's a tool, in my opinion, for a more experienced photo boother, for somebody that knows how to kind of screen their clients and or their customers or their, you know, their prospects, and knows how to explain what it's all about. Because it's a huge amount of fun, and older people, younger people, they all love it, and it's different from what they've experienced before. I mean, you go all the way from the, you know, the 5 and dime enclosed photo booth box type of photo booth up to the mirror, which is, you know, those of us in the photo booth world, we've all seen them. We've seen them at shows now for a few years, and a lot of us are like, oh, to us, the mirror booth is nothing new. Most customers still have not seen one at an event. So when they get in front of one, there's still a lot of people that haven't seen a photo booth at an event. I mean, if you haven't been looking to buy one, or you haven't been to a wedding, which I've been lucky enough to not have any friends get married in the last 5 or 6 years. So I haven't had to go to too many weddings myself, which is but where I wasn't working. But, you know, if you haven't been in an environment where you were going to see them, you wouldn't have seen it coming. So the mirror is still a big surprise to a lot of people, and that is kind of one of the next level things you can do. And from the mirror, the next progression, in my opinion, is where we went with the Rover, which, you know, people that have not seen them, the Rover is the robotic one. And the nifty thing about that is it allows you to drive it around the event. So we've all had the events where, sorry, I can't type and do this at the same time. We've all had the events where you've been there and you've just been like pulling teeth trying to get people into the photo booth, but they're more interested in drinking, or they're too cool for the photo booth, or whatever else. You know, a lot of times corporate customers will not place us in the main room at a convention or something like that, or not a convention, a meeting or whatever. They'll have dinner and everything, and then they'll set up a bar out in the hall, and they'll put us out in the hall. And I'll explain to them, you know, this is going to do way better if we're where the people are. And most of the time they'll listen, but sometimes they don't. So if you're kind of off in left field, you take the Rover, which can be used completely stationary, and you just fire it up and you start going and chasing after people. And it's incredibly maneuverable, and people just really think it's cool. So I'm going to go ahead and open this for you here, please, and show you that. Now let me bring this up, and I'm sorry I keep losing all of my windows here, John. I look like an amateur right now. Here we go. Where's that? That would be, I believe, here. And share.
There we go. It's coming up.
And go ahead and do it. So
there we are.
This is the Rover here. And basically, it's extremely maneuverable, extremely stable, and extremely mobile. So you can take the top off, or you can drive in and out of tables and stuff. You can go right up to people, and people are like, oh my God. And they'll do it, and they'll take the photos, and then, you know, and then they'll get back to business. And I have some cool videos where we're actually, you know, looping around the room and just doing the circuit. And at the end of the night, we just have an ungodly amount of photos that happen, because you don't have to wait for people to come in line or whatever. You go drive by the bar area, and you'll be plopped in one place for 20 minutes. People will just be taking photos. So that right there is basically showing how everything can set up inside, and then boop.
You're good to go, just like that.
Yep, it's extremely light. It can't be tipped over. It was actually designed for music festivals. One of our cell phone customers that we do stuff for nationally, the experiential marketing company that hired us to come up with an idea to get people to engage with the cell phone hawkers at music festivals. Because people are there to be like, you know, free bird, and drink beer, and they don't want to talk to you about a cell phone.
Yeah.
So we find a way. And that was like moths to a headlight. You know, we sent it out with a person who drove around, and everybody wanted to stop and was more than happy to type their email address in and everything. The company was thrilled because they got everybody's email, and the people were thrilled because they got their little branded photo to come right to their phone, which was awesome. And, you know, that was one of the things. And my wife was like, well, why don't you make that into a photo booth instead of a data collection kiosk? Because that's originally what it was, basically. It was a data collection kiosk. I said, all right, let's do it. So we did that. And I'm actually taking that beyond that now. And there's some really cool stuff, which you'll see at Photo Booth Expo. I'm not even going to say anything about it right now, but the rover is evolving once more. And I tried to make it ride on. I got that poo-pooed by the wife. She does not want to ride on Photo Booth. I thought it'd be awesome. It still can be done.
ZT zero turning radius.
Yes,
that would
but
be
that's evolving there. So that's another unique tool, and there's not really anybody out there that has them. So the calls we get come from, you know, from LA, from Seattle, from, you know, celebrities, from Miami, it's really nifty because we've actually had several celebrities buy them for their house. So there's people that now have rovers, and I guess they just drive them around, and when their friends come over, they take
pictures.
But you know, the rover was kind of the big evolution for us because it just gave us something that nobody else had.
Yeah.
And you know, we've been using them for a couple of years, and I was like, I'm not sure I want to. Then once a couple of amusement park chains came along and said, we see no problem with this whatsoever. I mean, and I don't know if I can say that, you know, their name or whatever, but one of the very large theme parks that all the little kids want to go to, you know, their lawyers said a stationary trash can is more dangerous than an attended robot driving around.
Sure,
because
I can see that.
Somebody watching that. You know, they said people walk into things and get hurt and everything. So that's one of the things people always say is, oh, that looks dangerous. It's low enough where it can't hit your ankle or anything, can't hurt you, it can't tip over, and you know, it's completely safe. And you know, it's safe enough for places that have very litigious you know, customers to feel that it's safe. So we're good. And if you see now, a lot of the grocery stores have got those little spill robots driving around unattended, if you've seen those.
Yep, we have.
Yeah, I thought that was really funny. Somebody was like, Lynch, is this your photo booth? Send me a picture. But that's our next one there is the you know, the rover. So you'd go from the venue pad being on the lower end price wise, but not lower end experience wise. You know, as we tell people, all of our photo booths can be an absolutely stellar, you know, experience if presented the right way. You know, you can take, and this is another one of my little Steve-isms, but you can take the best pictures with the worst photo booth or the worst pictures with the best photo booth. It's all going to come down to how you set it up. You know, and people always say, well, what makes your photo booth so much more special? Aside from, you know, little things that we do to try to make them, for example, user repairable. We're not big on the recurring costs, and I like things to be simple and intuitive. So that's the things that I think make it different. But at their core, photo booths are all basically doing the same thing, and it comes down to learning your equipment.
Sure.
So, you know, I have people say, oh, well, that one's $14,000. It's got to be better. And I explain to them, like, no, it doesn't have to be better. In the hands of the wrong person, that photo booth will take worse photos than, you know, the guy who's got the, you know, iPhone scotch taped to the front of a empty refrigerator box with a PVC curtain, you know. So if that person sets that up properly, he'll take stellar photos.
Yeah.
And walk away with is the end result. So, you know, I always try to tell my customers, it's not about necessarily what you spend. It's about the time you spend learning to use your equipment, because nothing is going to work absolutely flawlessly out of the box. It's all going to take user intervention to set it up so that people look the right color, and so that people wearing different colors of clothing and stuff come in. You know, I'll see a lot of times people will set the photo booth up for, you know, for example, pasty Irish white guy, go in there and set it up, and then other people come in and they look dark, or they look, you know, they don't look proper. I like to set it and try to make it so it's an even experience for everybody. And
Sure.
that's one of the things that we really strive for. We use the dual colored lights in all of our, in all of our pad-based booths and stuff, because I like people to be able to do color temperature adjustment, especially on the fly. A lot of people ask, why don't you have the colored lights around the ring? Well, that's why we put them in the base and other places. Your bling is for one place. You don't need the bling when you're taking photos. A standard LED strip is not necessarily going to give you the most accurate color reproduction when you're working with the camera.
Mm-hmm.
So I like having warm white and cool white, and you can overcome, nasty can lights or something like that above you, and lets you take nice photos. So I always like to look when we're taking photos and see, especially if you go roaming around for a while.
Yeah.
You want to plop the top off and you want to go walking around the event. You want to make sure that you're taking pictures that are going to be, they're going to favorably represent you as well as the people. Because there's nothing worse than handing somebody at the end of the night a flash drive full of photos that are way too bright in the background and too dark in the foreground or whatever. So it's nice to be able to just kind of sit there and, get it all adjusted nicely for the people that are taking photos.
For sure. And that's why people pay you the money to be there is if you didn't know your gear or what have you, they could do it themselves and not know their gear and take bad photos.
Yes.
Steve, our time is winding down, but I want to touch base on what's over your right shoulder, the game system you've got right behind you.
Yes.
We need to talk about that. And that's not a specific photo booth thing, but.
No, it's not. As you know, most of our business, like I said, we do schools and corporate. So we get a lot of oddball requests for certain things. We had a NASCAR speaker at one last year, and they wanted to have a driving experience for everyone. So we set up a bunch of virtual driving stations and whatnot. And I found that a couple of years ago, one of my customers actually hired a company out of, I believe, Charlotte or something. And these guys charged like $4,900 to come down and drop off 3 video game machines. And these were 3 like Galaga and Pac-Man and something else. I mean, they were just 3 games, and that was it. And people stood in line all night to play them. And I started thinking, I was like, that's kind of the generation that's getting married right now and stuff like that. And I tried to figure out how I could kind of capitalize on that. And I'm finding that, especially with a lot of these millennial weddings and whatnot, they're deviating from the traditional norm, at least down here.
Yep.
We're getting a lot of these barn type weddings. I mean, we have people, did a wedding, they had a BB gun range set up where people could shoot cans and stuff. I've been renting out video game machines. You've seen probably the big trailers that come and people can play Xbox and everything like that. Well, that's fine, but setting up gaming systems at an event is not the same as giving them a stand-up system where they can go and find all of the games that they remember. I mean, that was the babysitter to a generation. I mean, Nintendo, Sega, Atari, that's what we all grew up on. The games that you had to just hammer on for 4 weeks to get through. Now they're like watching a movie that you sometimes interact with or shoot something. These other games were just straight up, can I keep the button clean long enough to, tap a million times? So anyhow, these systems that we build now are, they're based around simple microcomputers, but we're utilizing game ROMs from all the classic stuff that's now out of print and whatnot. There's all these enthusiast groups online that share this stuff, and you'll see like at a lot of the big box stores and stuff now, they're selling these cardboard video game cabinets for $1,000, and they come with 4 games or whatever. So we wanted to make something that was a little easier. I can bring 6 or 8 of these out to an event and plop them, and I just figured on a whim I would try it. Cocktail hour at a wedding, oh my God, people are just wearing them out. They'll be out there just, and they're bonding over it because they remember, oh my God, my cousin and I used to sit in the basement and play Contra for hours, and they're over there playing Contra like they used to back in the day. And it's just the generation that remembers it. This is the gaming generation that's coming of age right now. They all had that stuff. So it's wonderful to bring back the retro stuff because retro is cool now. You see Nintendo's releasing the classic stuff. PlayStation's replacing, but these are, just one little console. With these now, you can load in pretty much anything you'd like. So you just have this. I mean, I think there's 2,500 games on there right
Oh
now.
my goodness.
I've never heard of half of them, but all of the classic stuff is there. So we started building those and renting those ourselves. I did bring it to the DJ Expo just to kind of put it out there. I completely expected to be flamed, and people would say, that's just stupid. DJs have no... Those of us that have ventured more into the production side and realize that there's a lot more you can rent to people that, you know, like people say a lot of times, you could be the $800 DJ on the $300 or the $3,000 stage, or you could be the guy who drops off the $3,000 stage and walks away and comes back 5 hours later.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of the stuff we've done with our business has been based around that kind of premise. So like with the pad-based booths, my whole reason for gravitating towards those originally was I wanted to be able to drop them off with some of our other stuff. So I can send somebody gaming machines, I can send them glowy furniture, I can send them a small stage, I can send them a photo booth, I can send them whatever. And it's all stuff that doesn't take a lot of interaction. So they can rent this stuff from us, and I can have a heck of a weekend and still leave and go fishing on a Saturday. So I am really into the rental part now, to the point, or to the, I'm into the side of it now where I don't necessarily have to be there.
Sure.
A lot of my photo booth stuff now, unless, like I said, it's a corporate activation or something that requires me to stand there. We have a lot of customers in the Atlanta area. I don't like to step on my customers' toes with things like weddings and things like that. So I've kind of stopped going to most of the bridal shows and whatnot, because I have a distinct advantage over people in my area that have purchased from us, and I don't want to try to overshadow them or whatever. So we kind of just made a conscientious decision to not do as many weddings, to not step on, you know, our customers. But the corporate stuff and everything, I mean, that's our bread and butter. That's what we've done for years, and most of my customers are not in that arena. So we, you know, we're all in on that. So, yep, that is that's one of the things we do now, and that can also be used in another way. And a lot of the DJs, just do the earmuffs for a minute because you're not going to like this. We have found that I started getting calls, and I don't know where it came from. I started getting calls for jukeboxes.
Yep.
People wanted jukebox rentals, and not a laptop or whatever. They wanted a jukebox, like a pizza shop jukebox and whatnot. So I've started refurbing old jukeboxes, and I've found that a lot of these hipster weddings and stuff like that, where the whole thing is not, it's not based around sparkle fountains and dancing on clouds and everything like that. It's danced around drinking craft beer, maybe some axe throwing and whatever else. And people online the other day were giving me crap about that, because I was talking about the non-conventional weddings being a gold mine right now.
Yes.
You know, there's weddings that I've done rentals for that they don't use a single LED light or whatever. They're using, you know, string lights and whatnot. They want a jukebox. They're not dancing. They're listening to, you know, indie music and whatever else. And stuff. It's wonderful when somebody can walk up and instead of going up and being like, hey, Mr. DJ or whatever, they don't want to dance. They just want to go up and see. I wonder if this guy's got this Frank Sinatra song. They put it in. They wait. When the song comes up, they're all happy. And so that's part of the little rental ecosystem we've been doing now. Now, it does not replace a DJ at an event where dancing is going to be the, you know, I mean, I am a DJ, and I do not want to be replaced by a jukebox or a robot that's going to do it for me. But there are customers that don't necessarily want that. So to be able to charge somebody $900 or something like that to drop something off and come back 4 hours later is golden, especially when they're renting a few other things. And now you find you have a $2,500 rental that you don't even have to be there for. So people that get into photo booths, I always tell them, look at events and see where you think you might be able to improve upon that and add that stuff to your stable.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's so many possibilities out there. So I had a question. What was the weight of the gaming system that you have, that podium right behind you?
That gaming system, I told you I wasn't wearing pants. I lied.
Yeah, I see. You already showed us your shorts.
Shorts, yeah. This right here, I think, is about 14 pounds. So
how does it break down? Is it one unit, or do you have it in a couple of different units?
No, that right there is the tabletop unit. That one actually can go on. It can go on a pedestal, or it can go on. A lot of times, what I'll do is I'll set them up on a longer folding table with a nice little nice little scrim thing on it or whatever. And I'll set them up back to back. So we'll have like 6 on a 6-foot table.
Yeah.
So people can stand there and do that. Or you can put them on the bar or whatever. But we can also make them with we can make them with a bottom base on it. It was more to show at the show right now. I found that most people that want them in some custom configuration. And I think that's totally cool because they have a dream of what they want it to look like. So that's what we're trying to do.
Nice. Very nice. Steve, we've got to wrap up here. For those of you out there watching, in the description of the video is the link to Atlanta Photo Booth. You can go down, click on that, and head out and check out what Steve's got on the website. He's got a lot of the products we've talked about tonight with the different Venue Pad and the Venue Pro and the Mirror booth. The gaming stuff, not there yet, I don't think. I don't think you had that.
It's there,
okay,
but I'm kind of swamped in photo booth stuff right now. So, in order to put the finishing touches on that, I'd like to have a little bit of downtime to really just get it. So it's still kind of in the, you got to be a little bit geeky, arena right now. I want it to be absolutely turn on and it's ready to go ready.
Excellent.
So
Excellent. Those are. I'm excited to see how those evolve when we meet in February at Photo Booth Expo. That'll be pretty cool.
They're getting there.
It'll be great. Steve, once again, thank you for being on tonight, and thank you guys for watching. We will be back on Monday night on PBN TV, where we're going to be talking to users out there like yourself about how you're making money with your photo booth. And then Wednesday night is our gear night, where we talk to a different manufacturer out there about some of the gear available for us in the photo booth industry. Steve, once again, thanks for being on tonight.
Thanks, John. Thanks for having me.
We'll catch you guys later. Good night, everybody.
Have a great night.